Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the pink symbol ABN-AF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. Welcome back to the show, Sharon.
Hello, Jim. Thank you.
Should people in West Vancouver be concerned about TELUS testing out 5G right now?
Not 5G, not yet. They're getting ready for it, though, and not in just West Van. They should be concerned everywhere in British Columbia about it. In advance of the 5G, which is still being, there are pilot projects, primarily in the U.S. I don't know of any yet in British Columbia. There could be some, but I'm not aware of them. But the fact of the matter is, 5G is a new technology where they will be using milliwaves instead of microwaves. They are transmitters that will be using frequencies that have never been used before for any purpose except the military and screening people at airports. The military has used these as weapons to control crowds. And now they're going to be putting this in a transmitter outside most people's homes. The small microcells are being installed and have been installed over the last few months without anybody being told. Either the local councils whose land is being used, the public right-of-way is being used without any notification, and it's outside homes and the residents aren't being told. These small boxes are being put on poles, hydro poles, telephone poles, whatever, by TELUS, under the guise of bringing fiber optic cable into your neighborhood. TELUS is going to homes and telling you that, gee, we're bringing fiber optic cable. This will mean wonderful, better service for you. Do you accept it? They don't tell you that this fiber optic cable is really for the transmitters. It may be brought to the outside of your home, but inside your home, they're depending upon you to continue to use your Wi-Fi. And it's the last step that ensures your service. So it doesn't matter that fiber optic cable's to the outside of your home. You're stuck with the slower services provided by the Wi-Fi inside your home. But the fiber optic cable is bringing data to these transmitters. And as we know, fiber optic cable is the best thing going. It is fast, it's efficient, and it doesn't irradiate, and it's not that easily hacked. It could be brought to your home, and it could be connected within your home. This would be by far the best. But that's not what's happening. TELUS is bringing it to these microcells, and they're going to be transmitting cell and Wi-Fi signals into your home, whether you are a TELUS customer or not. Right now, these microcells are capable of holding multiple transmitters, and they're probably using 4G technology, which is the current technology that most cell phones and Wi-Fi are using, up to about the 2.4 gigahertz range. There are more than 23,000 studies showing serious health implications and biological implications, including DNA damage, cancer, heart problems, from prolonged exposure to even small levels, low levels of this microwave radiation. But they are putting these every 100 to 200 meters along your street at about the same level as a second-story bedroom and only a few feet from the bedroom window. Once the 5G gets in there, this will be transmitting the higher frequencies. The higher frequencies do not travel as far, and they don't penetrate as well. That's why they have to have many, many small microcells along your street. These are replacing the cell towers that they're using now for cell phones and for Wi-Fi. And they're saying that they're doing it, for aesthetic reasons, to make things look better. Well, I question that. They're doing it because they think it's cheaper and they can get around any regulations that might exist in the communities. Many communities right now, including Industry Canada, which is now called Innovation, Science, and Economic Development, requires some consultation for any transmitter on a new tower. This is getting around that because they're putting it on existing structures and they're just ignoring any negotiations or consultation policies that might apply. This is being brought before the Union of BC Municipalities later this month at their annual conference. There is a resolution that's going to be calling for a moratorium on these things. Our right-of-ways, our public right-of-ways, is owned by the community. We have a right to determine what's being put up there. This is not an essential service, not like lights and telephones. Wi-Fi is not an essential service. And this is crazy that they're being allowed to do this without any permission from either the residents or the municipalities. So this is going to be discussed in a resolution before the Union of BC Municipalities in their conference that's being held the 27th through the 29th of this month. And I would ask that people go on our website, which is www.stopsmartmetersbc.com, and look for microcell, because there's a fact sheet that is very important there. And this fact sheet should be sent to every councillor and every mayor and ask if they would please educate themselves a little bit about what's going on so that when this resolution is presented, they'll be able to understand it and hopefully support it. We need to get people involved here because we are involved whether we want it or not. Our homes will be receiving higher levels of radiation without our being told. Right now in California, there's a very strong effort to try to stop this because it's happening all over North America, just as the smart meter issue took hold. And more than 200 cities and more than 35 counties are rejecting microcells and are asking for a moratorium. We need to organize ourselves as well here and get this stopped now.
Sharon, when you talked about the military using this particular range of radiation, what did they use it for and what does it do?
They used it for crowd control. They used it, it was part of their weaponry arsenal. So that if the military, for instance, was in a hostile area and they had crowds of people coming after them or whatever, they could zap them. I guess it's like a big taser from the sounds of it. It sounds like it's a taser. It burns the skin. There have been very few scientific studies on these frequencies. Until just recently, nobody was even aware that industry was considering using them. But as I said, there are more than 23,000 studies showing severe and serious harm from lower microwave levels. But there are only a few studies so far that have been done at the milliwave level, and all of them so far that I know of show harm at the surface level of your body. The skin is your largest organ in your entire body, and it has sweat glands. These sweat glands act like antennae, and the milliwaves are pulled into the body through the sweat glands. This has been shown. Also, your eyes are extremely vulnerable. There's no protection to your eyes. Your eyes are right out there, and they are liquid. And the milliwaves, as with microwaves, work best in a high liquid environment. That's how your microwave oven works. So these milliwaves are very, very of great concern to scientists. Scientists are saying, please don't put more stuff out there that we haven't had a chance to study before it's implemented. The cell phones, the Wi-Fi, the smart meters have all ignored science. These were put out here and have never, ever been shown to be safe. Yet they're out there, and the public is selling it, buying it, and being exposed to it. We shouldn't have to suffer more because, of the greed and the profit motive that is driving industry.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after the break.
I want to talk about the workers being exposed.
Yeah.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Arctic Star Exploration, operated by a team of proven mine finders, is focused on diamonds in Finland and the Northwest Territories of Canada. A work program is planned for our Finland property that contains diamond-bearing kimberlite. Arctic Star trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ADD, and the Frankfurt Exchange, symbol 82A1. Please visit our website at arcticstar.ca or call us at 604-689-1799.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, one of your great concerns about 5G is the people that have to work directly around it.
It's really true that I'm concerned about that, as with all transmitters. These transmitters on poles are being put in areas where hydro workers, telephone workers will be climbing these poles, will be exposed to the radiation, and they won't even know it. This is happening today with other transmitters, with cell transmitters, with Wi-Fi transmitters that are hidden, for instance, behind McDonald's signs and Starbucks signs. They're all over the place today, and workers are not being told. These are just brand new transmitters that are going to be on these poles, and IBEW workers are being warned. We are sending out letters to the IBEW units warning them about this and asking them to start getting involved. This radiation at all levels has been shown to cause serious health effects, including infertility. We talked about this last time, I believe, Jim, about the studies that are coming out showing that sperm is damaged, and this is going to greatly enhance the risk of damage to workers as they are going about their job. These meters are not going to, or these microcells are not going to be marked. They have, as far as we have seen, no sign indicating that there's any hazard or risk involved. And so people won't know it.
Well, even the radar sets that you have on your sailing boat have warning signs: do not get directly between this microwave transmitter and anything else because it's dangerous. So no warning signs on these.
Nope, not on these. Not on cell towers that are up on top of buildings. Not on Wi-Fi transmitters that, for instance, kids at McDonald's who are changing the signs outside. In many McDonald's, there is a Wi-Fi modem inside that sign. There's also, for instance, Starbucks. I've got on our website a YouTube that I was sent surreptitiously by an insurance person years ago who was at a meeting, and they were showing how the transmitters are hidden, out of sight, so that the public doesn't know. Well, they're ugly. No one wants to know about them, was the story. The insurance company was telling its salesmen that they should ensure that their clients are aware that there is a liability involved if workers are exposed to the transmitters that they've hidden on their buildings, in their cornices, to which their workers are being exposed. And they're hidden all over the place. There's like 15 minutes of shots just showing the type of things that are hiding these Wi-Fi transmitters and you'd never know they were there. You can walk by them and you'd never see them.
Sharon, what about All the workers I see at Starbucks, McDonald's, and Wendy's wearing those headsets, are they connected to those transmitters?
Yeah. The people at Best Buy, many of them are connected to various transmitters and Wi-Fi things. These are shooting rays right into people's heads. They're very, very dangerous. And workers are being forced to wear these. Many of the people who are suffering electrical hypersensitivity are being exposed to high levels of this radiation. And it's cumulative. The effects are cumulative. And they're required to work with this stuff. The same things with people in hospitals, doctors and nurses and other staff who are required to wear pagers and carry wireless laptops and all these wireless gadgets. They're being exposed too. There are nurses in our group. There are nurses around the world who are disabled and can't work. Just as teachers in schoolrooms who are being forced to work with Wi-Fi modems and with these smart boards and to wear these devices around their neck that emit Wi-Fi signals for kids who are hard of hearing. So many workers are being exposed to these things, and the workers, the BC safety standards, the workers' occupational safety, none of these organizations apply to them because this is controlled by Health Canada under Safety Code 6.
How up to date is Health Canada Safety Code 6?
It's decades out of date. It's one of the worst in the world. And Health Canada is ignoring all of the science that is out there. It is ignoring the UN statements that says it's against human rights for businesses to expose the public and their workers to dangerous situations. There's a UN resolution to which Canada is a signatory. Canada is also a signatory to the Nuremberg Code, which says that people should not be exposed to dangerous things, should not be experimented on without their agreement and their knowledge. This is exactly what's happening. We are all being treated like guinea pigs. We aren't being told that smart meters, that cell phones, that Wi-Fi, that wireless phones, wireless baby monitors are exposing us to a 2B carcinogen that has been shown to be very, very dangerous for people, especially to children. And we're not being told, and we're not being allowed to make a decision about whether we're willing to be exposed to this stuff.
Have you made your concerns aware to the government?
Oh, yes. To Perry Kendall, thousands of times through me and everyone else in our coalition. We've written to Health Canada. My husband and I wrote a petition to the Auditor General in 2008 saying that Health Canada was woefully negligent about this. It was filled with people with conflicts of interest who were working for the telecommunications industry. Yes, Jim, and there are so many people now who are holding the agencies liable. The insurance companies, the large insurance companies like Lloyd's of London, are refusing to cover any health risks associated with these wireless devices. That tells us something. So why is Health Canada allowing these devices to be sold? It makes no sense. The only reason is because industry is colluding with Health Canada. That's the only thing I can explain. That's my only justification that I can think of. And Perry Kendall, our provincial health officer, is doing nothing because he says Health Canada is not concerned. Health Canada says there's no risk.
Are they looking for any risk?
No, they aren't. They are going with the World Health Organization, who says there's no risk, who is also filled with industry people. They follow ICNIRP, which is an industry group that has set the initial guidelines that said Canada followed. These are all filled with either corporation or military people. And right now scientists are stepping out. Scientists like Dr. Martin Paul and Dr. Leonard Hardell are putting their reputations out there, saying that the World Health Organization is being led by corrupt people who have collusion, who are colluding with the industry, who have conflicts of interest, who are biased. We need a World Health Organization led by people who are real independent scientists, not people who are taking money from the industry. So we have major issues, Jim, that go all the way up to the World Health Organization. And Health Canada is siding with them rather than the United Nations, and rather with the scientists who are warning that the public is in dire stress.
We'll have more with Sharon Noble right after this.
I'm Brian Fowler, president of Blind Creek Resources Limited, listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, ticker symbol BCK. Blind Creek is focused in the Yukon, Northwest Territories, and British Columbia. The company's key property is the Blend Project, one of the largest undeveloped lead-zinc-silver deposits in Western Canada, plus plans to advance the recently acquired, fully permitted historic engineer gold mine in the Atlan District of Northwestern BC. Check us out at blindcreekresources.com.
In Goddard we trust.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Sharon Noble. Sharon, you have your smart meter fire report all set to go. Can you tell us what you're going to publish?
I sure do. On September 1st and 2nd, I hand-delivered this report to John Horgan, who is as you know, is the Premier for British Columbia, and I mailed it to the Energy Minister, Minister Mungle, and to several other people in the government. And I'm going to be releasing it on our coalition website and in my update tonight. The delay was because, first of all, I had to go out of town for a family problem. But more importantly, it is huge. The report itself is not that huge. It's about 40 pages. But I have several hundred pages of documentary evidence. And it was too large to fit on our webpage, so we ended up having to figure out how to handle it, and that's taken a while. This report is full of information that took me over 3 years to comprise. It shows that, first of all, smart meters have burned. There have been many smart meter fires here in British Columbia. It has statements by engineers, electrical engineers, about the design flaws that cause these meters to be fire hazards. But more importantly, I've shown that there is no one here in this province who is responsible for ensuring our safety. No one knows that fires are occurring. Fire reports are not being filed as according to the regulations and the laws of the BC Safety Standards Act. The BC Safety fire inspectors are not being called to inspect electrical fires, and often when they are, Hydro's already removed the meter, or else the meter has been burned up and destroyed, so there's nothing for them to inspect. The BC Utilities Commission received a complaint from me 2 years ago, in which I gave them information on 8 fires. And I gave them a lot of information about the engineers' design flaws. 6 months later, they got back and said that I didn't provide them enough information, that my information was not persuasive, my complaint was not persuasive. They didn't do anything. They didn't give this information to an electrical engineer to study, to look at the smart meter, to see if what I was saying was true, what these electrical engineers were saying was true. They just ignored it. The BC Utilities Commission rather said that they relied upon a report that was paid for by the former head of the fire commissioners, fire department of BC, fire chief of BC, Len Garris. He has no experience in relevant engineering. He's a fireman. He was chief. He looked at the annual report that is done each year by the fire commissioner that counts the number of fires that have been reported. And because he said there were fewer electrical fires reported for instance, in 2013 than there were in 2012, and fewer in 2012 than 2011, this means that the smart meters are safe, that they're preventing fires.
Sharon, but we're several years beyond that point now. There's a lot more evidence. How can such an outdated report still be relied on?
Well, first of all, he didn't look at the report. He didn't look to see what went into the report, what comprised the report. He didn't look at the fact that many of the reports are not being submitted. I did. More than 50% of reports are not being submitted at all, or are submitted too late to be included in the Commissioner's annual report. What does this tell you, Jim? Neither did he look to investigate that many of the fires are listed as cannot be determined. Why is this? Even if it's an electrical fire, but the smart meter has burned up or has been removed, and if the inspector has been called, which is rare, if the smart meter has burned up or been removed, even if the fire inspector has ruled out everything else and believes it's the smart meter, he can't say anything because he can't inspect the smart meter. It's gone. So he has to say, cannot be determined. An extraordinarily high number of fires on the reports say it cannot be determined. I don't know if this is more than in 2010 or 2011. They don't count these numbers of fires. They don't count the number of electrical fires that are not inspected. They don't realize or haven't taken into consideration that the fire department's budgets have been cut. So they can't always afford the time to write up the reports. There's a whole lot here that's going on, and the BCUC made their decisions that the smart meter is safe solely on the basis of Len Garris' statement, for which he was paid $15,000 for one report alone, and I suspect he's probably paid each time he makes a report, from spending a few hours looking at the fire commissioner's statement that says there are fewer electrical fires this year than there were last year.
Sharon, how many pages in total in your fire report?
Including the documentation?
Yes.
Probably about 700. The report itself, as I said, is about 40. And it will go through all of the details. It will tell you how the fire commissioner is not getting all of the information. It will go through and tell you that the electrical inspections are not being done as is required by law. It will tell you that the BC Hydro is removing meters, which is from the fire scene, which is against the law. Now, to be completely honest, Jim, I could only base my information on a little over 100 fires, because I don't know when a fire has occurred. I was told by people as they saw fires happening or through newspaper articles over a 3-year period, and I would investigate. I would go and I would ask for fire reports. Oftentimes I couldn't get them. They didn't come. They weren't there. I would have to do an awful lot of digging, and I did over a 3-year period. And that comprises probably about 600 pages of the report. I've included all of the evidence that I was able to receive from the fire commissioner, from BC Safety Standard, from all of the different agencies, including BC Hydro. There were many times when BC Hydro went to a scene where a meter had caught fire and burned, but the homeowner was able to put the fire off before it burned his house, or when the meter was just melting and actually hadn't caught fire, the homeowner stopped it. BC Hydro would come, replace the meter, and not report it to anybody. And oftentimes the victims took pictures of their burned meter. I would ask BC Hydro for a report, an inspection report on this meter. I never got one. Sometimes they told the victims that the meters were being taken and they would be sent to PowerTech, which is the lab that does the testing, supposedly, for BC Hydro for electrical equipment. PowerTech has never seen a smart meter. That's what they told me. BC Hydro later told me that they never test it. They never inspect a faulty meter. They just send it back to Itron for replacement. What is also concerning, Jim, is no one, not Hydro, not any independent group like the CSA, has certified these meters to be safe. No one has inspected these meters. I have written BC Hydro over and over and over again, asking, what did they do prior to signing the contract, prior to putting these things in our homes? Did they do due diligence? And as part of their due diligence, did they get an inspector, an electrical engineer, to inspect the meter, especially the remote disconnect switch, which has been involved in many fires? Did someone sign off? And to this date, they have refused to say anything. They have told me they don't need to, that it's not their responsibility, that they've accepted Itron's word that it's safe, that Measurements Canada assured it that it's safe. Measurements Canada isn't involved in safety. Measurements Canada is involved only in accuracy, if our bills are correct. BC Hydro has refused and continues to refuse to tell me or anyone what they have done to ensure that this smart meter is safe. Because they can't. It's not safe. I have in the report 2 engineers from the U.S., William Bathgate and Tony Simmons, both of whom are electrical engineers who have worked for years for various utilities and companies and have had major responsibilities. They both have taken the Itron smart meter apart and have determined it is a piece of junk. Mr. Bathgate wrote this to me, and he allowed me to write it in his report, that he would not allow one to be put on his home. Yet we have this on our home, and no one at the BC Utilities Commission has taken any steps to check to make certain that BC Hydro has made sure that this is safe. And BC Utilities Commission's prime job, as stated in the Utilities Commission Act, is to ensure that the public of British Columbia receives safe, reliable service. We're not receiving safe, reliable service from the smart meters. And I am challenging John Horgan to do what I've been asking him to do for years. Recall these things. He has told me before that contracts are signed, that the honorable thing is not to break contracts. Later he said that he couldn't do anything because it would be too expensive. No, Mr. Horgan, no. The honorable thing is to protect the public. And a recall will not be expensive. If we have a defective toaster, we take it back to the store, and if enough people complain about a defective toaster, it gets removed from the market. And this is what should happen with the smart meters. We have evidence that they're dangerous. They were defective when Hydro signed the contract. Itron knew these were dangerous. These had fires in Texas. These had fires in California long before BC Hydro signed the contract. We should have our money refunded, and we should be given back our safe, reliable analogs that last 3 to 4 times longer or even longer than a smart meter. Cannot cause fires, will not cause fires because it's not combustible. It is glass and metal and not plastic. And we should have our legacy fees and all of the money that's been spent refunded to us because Itron sold Hydro a defective product.
Did the province of Saskatchewan recall all the smart meters after just 8 fires?
Yes, but they recalled all of the ones that were on the home, but they are planning on installing a new type. Now, I don't know what the new type is. I don't have any information about it. But in Saskatchewan, many of the fires there, and there were only 8 before the recall, there were more after the recall, before they had all the meters removed, were associated with the remote disconnect switch. And it's the same remote disconnect switch that we have in our meters. They spark, and they're extremely dangerous. This is something that all of the electrical engineers, every engineer I've talked with, and I've talked to many, are very concerned about the remote disconnect switch. And it hasn't been tested. It should have to be certified by CSA before it was allowed to be put into a smart meter, and it wasn't.
Sharon, is there a website people can go to find out more information?
Yes, www.stopsmartmetersbc.com. And my fire report will be on there. If not today, it will be on there later tonight and tomorrow for sure.
Sharon, thanks a lot for chatting with us.
It's always my pleasure, Jim. Thank you.
My guest has been Sharon Noble, Director of the BC Coalition to Stop Smart Meters. You just heard what the website is if you want to find out more information. You're listening to the Goddard Report on TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. You might find better quality there. Questions for the show or our guests can be emailed to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.